Dash DID is a new type of decentralized digital identity that we are developing. It's something we've been working on in the incubator. And in this video, I will tell you about it and tell you what you can expect. I'll begin with number 1, identifying the shortcomings of current digital and physical identification systems. 2, providing you with a definition of what DIDs are. 3, emphasizing the benefit of DIDs over the forms of online identification. And 4, inform you about what Dash is working on, the products it has in mind, some market research, and what to expect in the upcoming rollouts. And in the description below, which I will encourage you to read after watching this video, I will tell you about the secured anonymous version called Anonymous Identity. So we are talking about a new form of decentralized digital ID that will reinvent the way we use physical IDs, among other things. This presentation is written by Emmanuel Tour, Emmanuel Eclipse on Discord, part of the Dash incubator, and the technical product lead for this project, using 6 years of experience in blockchain and product management to give you the relevant information about what DIDs are, why it's important, and what we are doing to make this exist in the Dash ecosystem. What are the problems with existing digital identity systems? More and more, our lives require verification of our identities. Buying a car, applying for mortgage, or signing up for a new service. Yet, current systems for authenticating users and establishing trust online are inconvenient for users and burdensome for businesses. More importantly, the current approach forces users to surrender their privacy. Also, the security and trust of online transactions barely clear the bar of being good enough. Unfortunately, according to World Bank data, 1 billion people on our planet still do not have official proof of identity. The considerable part of the population is in a precarious position. When they need to open a bank account, own property, or even find a job because the inability to obtain identification documents limits people's freedom. In 2021, almost 1 in 10 qualified nurses who were issued new licenses had to wait for 6 months or longer before they could start working. More than a third of these 226,000 registered nurses and licensed practical nurses waited at least 3 months because of identity verification-related issues. As another example, consider online shopping. Our personal information, including names, addresses, and credit card information, may be stored in dozens of websites. By storing this information, future purchases can be made more easily. But that is assuming the consumer can effectively manage the dozens of usernames and passwords needed to log into the sites. And there is a risk that comes with storing that data. We're all familiar with the constant drumbeat of breaches at companies. Users using weak passwords, phishing schemes revealing passwords to cybercriminals, fraud, theft, and businesses struggling to comply with regulations for protecting customer data. 96% of baby boomers, 94% of Gen X, and 93% of Gen Z don't trust social media platforms to protect their data. We can do better. Defining decentralized identity. Decentralized identifiers, DIDs, are a new type of identifier that allows for decentralized and verifiable digital identity. It's a digital identity that enables the exchange of trust identity data without the need for a third party. DIDs are first and foremost an identification method, similar to your employee or driver's license ID. But instead of being provided by the government or company, this is an identifier that you yourself generate, own, and control. The way it's designed allows the owner to demonstrate control over it and use it without requiring permissions from any other party. In an extended use case, it can contain your private identification information, PII, used to directly or indirectly identify you using personal elements or data such as name, age, address, biometrics, employment history, and so on. In addition to PII, data from electronic devices such as usernames, passwords, search and purchase history, and others all contribute to a decentralized digital identity. It allows you to share identity information with individuals and organizations, and you can revoke access to that information at any time. A brief description of one of the most significant advantages of this type of digital identification. A lower barrier to entry. It allows access for people without existing government-supported biometric IDs to get one. Most people with access to phones do not have biometric IDs, sometimes due to the cost of getting one and other times not having the time for it. There are also people that can afford it but are limited due to time or physical constraints like disabilities or distance from issuing centers. The goal is to leave as little barrier to entry as possible. What is Dash building? What is the solution? The solution we are developing employs decentralized identifier (DID) technology and verifiable credentials, allowing you to create an identifier that you can move around to different platforms by simply logging in, bringing your data and reputation with you. We have gone through the process of building a decentralized identity, which means we have adopted the use of decentralized identifiers that are based on W3C standards. Now we are attempting to determine the best user experience to bring this to those actively using the internet, those who will use the metaverse, or businesses and institutions which need to provide identification services to their customers, KYC. Going beyond, we are building this into different consumer products. Firstly, you have the decentralized identity, which basically allows you to have an identity system that is decentralized yet, and most importantly, it provides verifiable credentials which allow you to have documents tied to that identity. So you get reputation and history tied to the identity, all done on the blockchain. Some of the services that we are building include platforms that will allow companies to issue employee IDs and universities and colleges to issue student IDs or diplomas that are digital and easily verifiable. Some other products we intend to build include Identify, which is an item verification NFT platform that is meant to bridge NFTs to physical assets. We do this by assigning digital identifiers in NFTs connected to the physical product assigned to a user at the point of purchase. This also serves incredibly well as an anti-theft mechanism. Other examples of products it can be used for are rare or luxury items like wines, perfumes, bags, gourmet food items, fake drug detection and healthcare, etc. Private Pay, confidential consumer engagement platform. This one is really interesting, and I will tell you how it works. Say a user, Frank, is frustrated by the endless surveillance that tracks his activity online. He is a single father of 2 daughters, and his privacy is extremely important to him. He does everything he can to avoid sharing details about his life, shopping, or the unintentionally geolocated digital photo that could endanger his children. He has reduced his digital footprint by avoiding all but the most secure and privacy-detected websites. However, when he can confirm that a website meets his own privacy standards and is willing to accept a lawful obligation to protect his information, he values the personalized service that can be created by sharing specific nuggets of information, while remaining as anonymous as possible. He creates a new unique DID for each service and authorizes the company to use it to track him, as long as they agree to his specific terms of service, which cover inappropriate use of his data, whether internally or redistributing it to other companies. The service can build a history of interactions with Frank using this unique identifier, without using his legal identity, IP address, or any credit or income data. Just the DID. The service provides an extremely strong assurance that the current session user is Frank by authenticating and using the DID. If the stored data is compromised as a result of a data breach, all the attackers will get is a history of shopping and shopping lists associated with a random DID controlled by an unknown party. My Healthcare, a platform for medical history. A medical record keeping and scheduling platform for patients and doctors, which will store medical histories on the platform to make it easily accessible from anywhere when the patient needs them. My Transcript, a transferable skills credentials platform, also NFT related. I will explain this. Let's assume a worker named Janeth has an employer which tracks workplace success and recognition using DIDs and VCs. Every employee is assigned to a DID, which is accessible through the company's registry. When Janeth completes a training program such as CPR or export compliance, or receives an honor, such as Employee of the Month, the company issues him a new verifiable credential. These are not only used by HR in determining raises and bonuses, but they're also made available to Janeth in a format that she can use outside of the firm. She keeps a career portfolio on his own server, which she uses to keep track of his career progression. Over the years, following corporate policy, she updates his cryptographic material for his workplace DID. After these updates, all of the credentials could still be verified as having been issued to Janeth. My will. Write your will on a blockchain. On the less fun topic of death, we intend to build a platform that will allow people to leave their will on blockchain as a form of electronic will, which, unlike any physical will, cannot be altered by lawyers or relatives after they pass. Even for owners of blockchain, people are currently accumulating a lot of digital wealth these days, which can be lost forever after the key holder dies. The reason for this is due to the secure nature of the blockchain, which makes it inaccessible to anyone except the key holder. If the key holder dies without sharing their private key, their assets on the blockchain cannot be retrieved. So the system that we are building will allow someone to allocate their will in the event of their passing. What Dash is building? Web3. Another major product we have been working on is called My ID, which I'll get into in a moment. But first, let's talk about where we are going with Web3. We're going into this extended reality where our digital lives are going to really supplement our physical lives, hopefully in a good way, considering how much time you spend online on your phone and other devices. You are really making these connections with more and more people that you are not doing in the physical world. So regardless of whether we like it or not, that is the direction in which we are moving toward. A reality in which our digital lives and the connections that we make will be of real significance. We've been in discussions with other important parties like Revolut, where what we want to do is use the Dash blockchain technology, match it up with their application, and implement it into the login system over there. There's really a lot you can do with it. There is a possibility of integrating it into the international passport system to enable international travel using a digital passport ID. More on reputation. Next, I'll discuss how you can use DID technology to establish a reputation and create a profile about yourself similar to LinkedIn. But in reality, there's much more to it than that. To give you an idea, we're building a wallet called My ID. We spent about 9 months planning this out. What it will allow you to do is log in, get your DID, and all the attributes are assigned to your DID, so when you get a verifiable credential or an achievement, they are all linked to your ID. A brief summary of progress we have made and the direction we intend to take. The Dash DID project was first conceptualized in 2020. We underwent a planning and roadmap phase and then iterated, so now we have 2 DID methods built on Dash, meaning you can generate a DID from your existing Dash usernames or from the Dash platform name server. So we have a method built on Dash platform name server, which is built on Dash platform identity, which is built on Dash blockchain. So you see, we kind of have layers of identities here. And it works because anything that can be used to identify you or any individual is an identifier. So users who already have Dash username can quickly generate a DID out of this. The endpoint is publicly available for anyone to build on and grow the Dash ecosystem. The other thing we did is build a second DID method directly from the existing Dash identity itself. We created both because we value loyalty and did not want to force users who already had some identity built on Dash to go through the trouble of having to discard them, but instead, this extends that functionality and users are going to be able to generate their DID out of it by simply entering their Dash ID details on a form field and clicking a button. The back end is all done, as you can see in the preview from the video. So the next thing we do is to integrate it into the aforementioned front-end form, and voila, we're good to go. I will put a link in the description so you can sign up for the earlier access and for the collection of preferred usernames. Now we want to spend the next 6 months building out the products in order to work with third parties like Facebook and Google to expand its uses. However, small businesses are going to be one of our early adopters because this is really a product for the everyday person. This is just the main implementation of bringing your authentication and your identity into the application, and there is so much more that you could do beyond that. There are many people concentrating on the login with Ethereum or the login with ENS, which is fantastic. But you need to think about the reputation systems over a longer period of time, including how they are going to work in the future and how they are going to work between networks. These are all things that we have on our roadmap to build into the DID capabilities. There are also things you could do with its zero-knowledge functionality. One easy example is when you show your physical ID to someone and they ask for your age. Why would you provide your photo, your address, and all of this other unnecessary information when you could just have a verifiable credential that states this person is of legal age to perform this action? To expand on the reputation aspect, if you want to join DAO, do they really have to go through the same process of onboarding you and figuring out who you are when they could just look at your credentials over time and instantly know what your participation in the past, see where you've been in other DAOs and groups with your own tokens, and then go beyond the on-chain information to include all the off-chain verifiable credential information? This is what we've been working on for a long time. Some of us at Dash Incubator are really eager to introduce this to a larger Dash ecosystem, which is why I'm making this video. We're also looking forward to bringing this to a reality alongside you all. Here are some of the links to my social media profiles where you can add or message me if you're interested in what we're doing. We have multiple projects going on. We'd like to work with you if you are a contributor in any way of ideas on how to enhance the products, helping to write codes, and so on. There are consumer products that are going to be coming out over a few months after the creation of the DID, and really anyone can reach out. We're excited to meet you all and work with you. I'm here if you would love to understand a little bit about the kind of business model and some of these initial consumer products, what to expect in the first rollout, who we anticipate will use it, and how we envision the business model. Message me links in the description. Unlike physical IDs, this will be easily available for all, really anyone with mobile access to mobile, and this will also be doing a lot of good in areas of the world where access to formal identity is very common. So there is good publicity in this for Dash apart from the obvious financial gains. If you have general questions about the incubator, you can reach out to the guy in charge of the incubator, Ryan Gull. I will put his links in the description below too. Just to give you an example of something to expect before the end of the year, we're adding a SSO system, and I referenced this earlier. What that means is if someone signs up for a Dash DID, they'll be able to sign up and into third-party websites that have nothing to do with Dash using the Dash DID credential, as you would with a Google or Facebook account. The initial consumers of this product will be those familiar with MetaMask, Dash users, and generally those who are creating their identities both in Web 2 and the coming Web 3. In later stages, businesses are going to adopt it for issuing things like employee IDs, keeping track of achievements, and things like that. So it's anyone who needs to have their identity verified over time, whether they're an influencer or not. The verified credentials play a huge role in this. And then you have a SIS type product that provides a reputation all over the internet. Follow the social links in the description for future updates and let me know your thoughts about DIDs below. Thank you. Thank you.